Welcome to Beyond Hormones, the Business of Wellness, the podcast for hormone and functional medicine providers who want a thriving, predictably profitable practice and maybe a little less stress along the way. Hi, I'm your host, Jody Lane, and I've worked with lots of clinics in marketing, sales, and business development, and I have seen what works and what doesn't. And here's what I believe. Hormone and wellness care should be available to everyone who wants it. And while providers know the medicine, many struggle with the business side of their cash practice. And that's where I come in. See, this podcast is here to share real strategies, real stories, things you can implement in your practice right away. So I am so glad you're here. Come on, let's go. Welcome back to Beyond Hormones, the Business of Health. I'm your host, Jody Lane, and today we're talking with someone who built a thriving hormone clinic without coming from medicine. And that is exactly why his perspective is gold for owners. My guest today is Keith Reeves, and he is the founder of Optimized Wellness in Centennial, Colorado. Keith started the clinic in 2017 after experiencing hormone therapy himself. His model is simple by design. Do a few things exceptionally well, which he does, hormone optimization, weight loss, peptides, and ozone therapy, and then deliver a patient experience that feels human and not hurried. In our conversation, Keith shares with us how being a non-provider forced him to work on the business and not in it, and how a small but mighty team plus a win-win-win rule guided every decision they made. How he shifted from disruptive social ads to Google, plus reviews for intent to drive growth, and how he positioned his clinic against cookie cutter franchises by leaning hard into personalized care. And make sure you stick around to the end for a patient story that perfectly captures why this work matters. All right, guys, let's dive in. Well, hello and welcome to the Beyond Hormones, the Business of Wellness podcast. I have on with me today Keith Reeves from Optimized Wellness. Keith, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Jody. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so grateful that you chose to be with us today. And you've got a little bit of a different story than some of the other guests. So I'm excited to dive in and learn all about your life and what happened and how you got here.
You'll probably learn I should just to put the disclosure up front. I think a little bit differently than other people, so it's probably why I have a little bit different setup.
That's all right, because what everyone listening is going to find out is that it works. So we want to
Yes.
hear all about it. Okay, so let's start with by telling us a little bit about who you are. What is your clinic? Where is it located? And when was it founded?
Yeah. So we started back in 2017, middle of the year. The name is Optimized Wellness. We're in Centennial, Colorado, which is directly south of the Denver area. Basically, we specialize in very few modalities. We are hormone optimization is the key pillar of what we do. We also do weight loss, peptides, and some ozone therapy as well.
Okay. And when you started the clinic, did you have all those services or did you start with one thing and grew kind of slowly to those others?
Yeah, no, my philosophy in starting, I wanted to start a hormone clinic. When I started this, there were not a lot of hormone clinics out there that specialized in this field. And that was my goal. My thought was, okay, let's start the hormone clinic and see what our clients want and see if we can expand into those areas. So that's kind of the direction we took, with the exception of ozone therapy. My practitioner had experience with ozone therapy, had gotten certified in it. So we brought that in because that's something that she had and liked a lot of the benefits.
Okay. Okay, great. And you started the clinic when?
2017.
2017. So you've been open for a while. And you're not a physician, you're not a provider. Your background's actually in print and marketing. Is that correct?
But take it back further. I got a degree in computer information systems,
Okay.
specialized in artificial intelligence, worked in the software field for several years, and then transitioned into the entrepreneurial world, starting with the print shop, and then transitioned into where we are today.
Okay. So the question I'm sure everyone is thinking, how did you get from that to hormone?
This.
Yeah, what
Right?
happened?
Yeah, it's a crazy journey. So I bought a print shop. It was an existing print shop, ran it for 11 years, grew it, ended up selling the print shop in 2016, the end of 2015, beginning of 2016. And I thought, I needed to do something. I wanted to do something else, but I didn't know what that was. And I had started hormone therapy probably 2015 or so. So I knew the benefits, I experienced the results. And I thought, what was missing was an opportunity for men to understand and learn about hormone therapy. Women have this, networking structure. They talk to each other, they talk to their physicians, they talk to their OB/GYNs. They can get the information, they can share the information, they can talk about what they're experiencing, what options are available, and they have that network. Men don't have that. And that's what I thought was a missing piece. I really thought men needed to benefit from something. Really, the only thing out there at the time was the injections. I have a personal bias against the injections just because I want to be natural. Injections have some natural components to it, but they also have synthetic. And that's something I didn't want to do. I thought, men should have an opportunity to learn what's available. If they want to take the injection route, I don't care. That's totally fine. But they need to know there's a natural alternative that can provide them systemic benefits for long-term health, not just quick symptom relief. So that's really the main thing that I wanted to offer to people.
I love that. Your story and mine is very similar, being that neither of us are providers and both entrepreneurs who just got the hormone bug, basically. Like we either took hormones or someone in our family. For me, it was my husband who started it and saw this drastic change. And you're right, in 2016, 2017, it was much more focused on women. And we have like a natural body clock telling us when hormones are no longer there. Whether you
Right.
want to take hormones or not, it's like it's obvious.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
What would you say was an advantage or a disadvantage that you had walking into the clinic as not a provider with no medical background? What do you think? How did you think that did for you?
We'll say one of the biggest things for me, and this I learned in the printing business. I came into the printing business with a software background, so no idea how to run a printing business. But I learned everything. So I could run everything myself if I needed to. And there's times, if I woke up 2 a.m, couldn't get back to sleep, I'm like, I might as well go do some work. I didn't have that opportunity in this business. What it forced me to do was take myself out of the day-to-day operations and put myself into the business
Oh, interesting.
leader, the business entrepreneur mindset of how do I grow this business? How do we market this business? How do we structure this business? So it gave me more of that time to focus on really the business itself.
Wow, I never would have thought about that, but that is so cool. So everybody complains, all entrepreneurs complain that all they do is work in the business instead of on the business. And you had no choice but to work on the business. And
Right.
you came to it from a retail mentality because you served customers before. So you just translated what you knew to serve customers into serving patients.
Correct.
Now, how did you grow your team? Because you needed a really strong team behind you to do all that.
We still have a very small team.
No, I said
Well,
strong team, but yeah, you have
yes,
a
we have a very,
small but mighty team.
and that's the key. It's the strength in the people. The people in your team will either make you or break. They can crush a business incredibly fast if you don't have the right people in the right seats at the right time. So I was very blessed when I started off, not knowing what I didn't know.
Hmm.
I found a nurse practitioner who was eager and excited to help grow a business. That really lit her up. So I had the dual blessing of having someone who had the medical knowledge, the medical expertise, but also had that strong desire to grow the business. And in the beginning, it was just her. So she would focus on finding the right EMR, the protocols to put in place, the offerings, the equipment, everything we needed. And I was able to focus on the business side of it, the marketing, the location, all of the stuff that goes into starting the business. So it was really started off very, very synergistically with the two of us. And then from there, she actually had to move out of state. Her husband was in medical school at the time, got a residency in another state. So we transitioned to a new provider. And then from there, we went through a couple of iterations on staffing. And, right now we have, honestly, it's myself, my provider, and our office manager who really run the entire business. So it can be done very successfully. And in my mind, what's important is I want simplicity. I don't want a lot of complexity. I don't want a lot of things that are moving parts that you need to kind of hurdle in all the time. I just want it very simple. And once you have those people that have the strengths that you need and can utilize those strengths, you can build a very powerful business from a very small team.
Absolutely. So one more question about the fact that you came into this industry not as a provider, because the reason I started this podcast was because I wanted people who were interested in starting a hormone clinic or are already running a hormone clinic to have guidance and support from those that have already done this. I'm sure there's somebody out there listening that isn't in the medical world, but just wants to start a hormone clinic. Is there any disadvantage or any hurdles you had to jump through in order to get to that success that you think maybe was because you weren't a provider?
Yeah, there was. And initially, what we did, the way we started was we had teamed up with a hormone training company that
Okay.
provided training and protocols and certifications and things like that. You had to be a provider to get into that. So go back a step further. When I started the business, I'm not a provider. I had a good friend who is a chiropractor who was basically enough to get us in the door of
Okay.
that offering. So once I found my practitioner, then we could get her certified and things like that. So that was a challenge. He dropped off early on. He didn't really want to pursue the business after we just kind of kicked it off. So that was enough to get us in the door. But you have to have somebody behind you that knows what they need to do. I didn't know, how to implement malpractice. I didn't know how to get the certifications, get the training, look for the specialties. All of that stuff is very medical specific. And you've got to have someone that not only helps show you the way and what's needed, but has the credentials to actually get you that training inside the business, right?
Okay. All right. So that's something that if you are not a medical provider and you want to get into this business, you got to be thinking about as part of your startup team. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So thinking back to the early days, what is something that you did in terms of like success to the business that you are particularly proud of or that, it worked really, really well?
I
It
think
could be a
back to the
marketing idea or something that just sort of like got your foot in the door.
Yeah. If I'm being real honest with you, we didn't have a lot of early wins.
Okay.
It was a grind. It was a
Okay.
grind. And so this is part of the different way that I think. You can go out and you can get a business loan, or you can get a partner and you can get some funding, and you can grow your business and invest that into it. I didn't want to do that. I had a little bit of funds left over from the sale of the print shop, and I wanted to do it all organically, do it ourselves. So it was tough. It was a grind. The biggest benefit that I had from the beginning was that practitioner that I found. And one of the things we tried to do early on, I'm a firm believer in giving people options and helping them, get the things that they need to move the needle where they want it to go. And I know hormones are a big one. I know hormones are huge. They make a drastic change in people's lives, but it's not the end all be all. There's other things that people need, chiropractic or functional medicine or things like that. So initially we tried to partner with some other practitioners and kind of do this, have a one-stop shop, right? We'll help you with your
Mhm.
hormones. They'll help you with your other
Great
issues and
idea.
things like that. And it just didn't really synergize the way I'd hoped it had. And it goes back to the analogy: when you're a hammer, everything's a nail. When you're a chiropractor, you think chiropractic can fix everything. It doesn't. If you're a hormone specialty fixes everything. It doesn't. Those things can help people tremendously, but you've got to have the mentality that there's other things that people need in their lives. And so to bring that together was incredibly difficult. And we really didn't see a huge jump until we just said, you know what, let's just do it on our own. We'll go get our own space, our own, everything that we need, and we'll do it on our own. And that's really when things started to turn for us.
Gotcha. Yeah, two things I just heard you say that I think are really important. The first is just like hiring that first practitioner, you've got to have the right people on your team, even if they're just partners or they're just, like looking for the other specialties to kind of work simultaneous with you. Got to have the right people. Didn't find them. And then you are really good at pivoting. Like you don't seem to get stuck on, I wanted to do it this way, it didn't work out, boom, move on. Do you see that? Do you think that about yourself?
Yeah, there's a huge thing and that's really been a big part of our success because you have to be able to pivot.
Yeah.
Whether it's an FDA decision coming down that changes everything on a dime, whether it's a location that gets shut down because of COVID or whatever, you've got to be able to make those pivots. And that's one thing that as an entrepreneur you learn very quickly, that if you don't make those pivots, you get stuck and you're in the river and it's taking you downstream, and that's not where you want to go.
Yeah, I see that a lot with providers. I mean, I honestly think that's probably one of the benefits you had on your side was being an entrepreneur first, medical second, is because there's not a lot of pivoting in medicine. You
Right.
just kind of follow the traditional path, but you were able to do that. That's awesome. So, in terms of why optimize wellness, what do you think is like the reason that people would choose you over some of the other clinics in your area?
If I go back and analyze what we've done and what we've done correctly, the biggest thing right now is the provider that we have. You can look at our reviews and people will sing her praises. And the thing is, when I was in the printing business, I became very successful, and people would ask how you did that. And I said, in today's day and age, you have to give people a little bit of customer service.
Mm.
It doesn't even have to be a lot because they're so used to not having any customer
Right.
service that just a little bit moves that
That's
needle.
sad.
My practitioner, literally, this is what she does. She has an office, she's got a desk, and when people come in for a consultation, she will go sit in the chair next to them and have a conversation with them. She will talk to them and with them and not at them and down to them like a normal doctor's office. It's not a you're in here 7 minutes and you've got to go because we've got to get the next person in here. It's very personalized and it's a very comfortable environment. And that's one of the things I wanted from the beginning was just a very cozy, comfortable environment. I didn't want a doctor's office. I didn't want the med spa type feel, but I wanted something in between where it's very comfortable. And that's the environment that we've created. That translates into the consultation style that my practitioner has in very welcoming, warming, and listening to what people want because they've been to other places so many times. Their needs are not getting heard. They're getting kind of the pill treatment, oh, here's what you've got, take this, go away, come back in 6 weeks. And they're just not feeling that they're being heard. They're not getting their needs addressed. And when you give them that, it's a transformational experience right from the beginning.
Wow, you articulate that so incredibly well. Like, for anyone who's listening, this is the difference between what a really successful clinic looks like and one that's trying for success, is that you, Keith, have articulated for yourself and now to us exactly the patient experience. And I'm guessing that every decision you make on a day-to-day basis is to guarantee that that patient experience occurs.
Yeah, this is one of the things, the way I think a little bit different. In my mind, when we do something, whether it's hiring someone, bringing on a new protocol, whatever it is, I tell my staff, it's got to be a win-win-win in my mind. It's got to be a win for the client, it's got to be a win for the staff, and it's got to be a win for the business. If everybody's not winning, we're not going to do it, right? We're not focused on profits and just making a big name for ourselves. We're focused on real transition in people's lives. That's what makes the difference.
That's awesome. Now, in full disclosure, we've known each other for a few years. We're in a mastermind together.
Right.
So I know a little bit about your clinic. What would you say in terms of your marketing message? Because of course, that's the thing that a lot of providers struggle with is how do they get new patients into their door? And you've been doing this long enough that you've got a system. How do you find people that are going to value that kind of experience over price or convenience or whatever else would keep somebody from becoming your patient? How do you target those people?
So marketing is a complex thing. I did have the benefit of having some marketing experience because of being in the print world. So I understood it. The thing that we did, and we did it early on, and this is what I think a lot of people do. People in marketing will focus on a lot of the meta apps, the Facebook and the Instagram. Now they're kind of transitioning as well to TikTok and things like that. And that's fine. And it helped us build the business from nothing. What people don't understand is it's called disruptive marketing. Because what you're doing is you're disrupting somebody's scrolling. They're scrolling through there trying to find their friends and their interests and whatever, and they see you and it's like, oh, that's interesting. And they can take the time to fill out a form or give you a call or whatever. But by the time you get back to them, they have no idea who you are. So it's a message that in that realm of marketing, in the disruptive marketing world, you have to be focused on people getting to know you. It's name recognition. It's understanding what you do. And then you've got to have very extensive back end that follows up with those people and can bring them into the system. So we did that for several years. It was painful. It was very, very painful. We get a lot of no-shows, a lot of cancellations. People don't understand who you are or why you're calling them. But the big thing we did is it helped us grow the business to a point where we were able to start getting some really positive reviews. And today, I don't know if people place the value on reviews that they really deserve. Google is very focused on reviews, and Google is the main place people are going to find people. So we transitioned a couple of years ago to Google Ads because instead of taking this disruptive marketing tactic, now we're focusing on people who are actually looking for our services. They're starting to hear things. They're talking to their friends. Somebody said this. Let me go find some information on that. First thing they want to do is look at your reviews. So we've got very positive reviews, a lot of reviews out there. And then from there, they'll click on the ads and, kind of transition. So basically taking it from disruptive to intentional marketing.
Mm-hmm.
These people are looking for what you are. They just want a quality place to do it. And when you provide that quality place, which is reflective in the reviews, then you have that built-in trust, because that trust transfer from either someone they know or someone they read online transfers over to them. So you already have a built-in comfort that you can build on.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. When we first met, I didn't agree with you, right? We used to talk about that, Facebook versus Google, and Facebook marketing or meta marketing in general has just gotten so much more difficult. I mean, what you just said, amplified by 10 is what I find. You can have someone click on a lead magnet, fill out a form, you contact them within 10 minutes and they don't know who you are. It's unbelievable. And Google really does reward you for all of it. The ad, the review, the SEO, all of it. So you were onto it way before the rest of us. That's why you're so successful.
I'll take it.
So what would you say if you had somebody who knocked on your door and said, "Hey, Keith, I'm thinking about opening up a clinic." What kind of advice would you give them?
I don't know how comfortable I would be with giving them that kind of recommendation, but what I can say is business is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Business is just hard. Now, if you're a practitioner and a lot of it is what we see in the realm that I'm in with the hormones and the peptides and the longevity clinics and things like that, are Western medicine doctors that are tired of the system and want to get out of it. What they need to realize, you may be a very successful practitioner. You are obviously very skilled and very knowledgeable in what you do. That does not necessarily transition into business. If you want to start a business as a practitioner, you can, and you can be very successful. Business is hard. You cannot do it by yourself. You've got a couple things you've got to do, especially as a practitioner. You've got to figure out where you want to be, or what seat do you want to fill on that bus. Are you the business owner? Are you the practitioner? Are you the clinician? Are you holding both of those seats? And that's fine, but there's things you've got to learn. You've got to run a business. You can't just run the clinical side, right? And there's a lot. You've got to know the legal. You've got to know the marketing. You've got to know the HR. You've got to know the financial. There's a lot of things. Who do you pay taxes to? When do you pay taxes? What do you pay taxes on? What's tax exempt? There's a lot of moving parts to business, and business is hard. So if you want to do it, you have to build a team. And whether that, it can come in different forms. It can come in a partnership. It can come in business coaching. It can come in franchise, right? Or it can come in building a team that has some specific knowledge and expertise to help you grow. But you got to stay in your lane. And if you try and be all things to all people, you try and run this business by yourself, you will get overwhelmed incredibly quickly because you're missing pieces. You think, oh, we got 4 new clients this week. We're doing great. Okay, but now you don't realize the markup on your services are not where you need to be. And now you're actually losing money, right? So there's a lot of pieces that need to be fit. And if you get the right team in place, that's critical. And I know you guys help people in that realm as well. So someone that has the knowledge, that has the expertise, that can say, this is where you are, this is where you want to be. Okay, let's build the path to get there because this is what I've seen works.
Yeah. You're speaking the choir like that. I think that's true for every industry. Obviously, we're talking about medical, and it's worse for medical because, as you pointed out, many very successful providers transition from traditional to concierge, cash pay, whatever term you want to put on it, and they don't realize how much of a business really it is versus just an office that takes insurance.
Right.
But so many people that attorneys, accountants, anybody that can do a skill that goes and opens a business really needs a team, just like you said. And you really did a nice job of explaining the ways you can get that team. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to take a partner. You
Right.
can't just hire out. It could be a staff member or whatever. So where do you think you'll be in 5 years? Where is Optimized Wellness going?
I want to, and I've actually said this over the last year or two, I want to live up to our name, right? I intentionally named this optimized wellness because I believe we can achieve an optimal wellness state. I think we're doing very good where we are right now. The hormones are a huge lever, and the peptides coming in are huge levers. So I want to incorporate a solid foundation of wellness that we can provide people with. So they have it's not an all encompassing, we're not going to do PCP care. We're not going to do OB services. We're going to help people optimize their wellness and provide offerings that get them to that optimized state.
Awesome. I wish I lived in Colorado.
Come on over.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
I'm pausing because I'll edit this out if you don't want to answer this question. I just thought of this. My question is, what do you think about franchised hormone clinics? They're coming, they're already here, there's more coming. Do you feel like that's going to help our industry or do you think that's going to hurt the industry?
I will say, a while back, I thought about this quite a bit, and I thought if someone to ask me if they should start a business, I would tell them to buy a franchise. They've got the systems in place, they've got the marketing in place. It's not done for you, but a lot of the foundation is already built. So if you're looking to do a business, that may be a viable option, right? If you're looking to, I want to own my own business, I want to make some money, great. If you,
Oh,
if
hello. That's right, we'll edit it out.
if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to run your own business, make your own decisions, pivot when you need to pivot, bring on services that you want to do, then do that on your own is kind of the way I would say that. Let me back up because I actually forgot the question I'm answering.
Oh, do you think that it's going to help or hurt?
Oh, the franchises. I think in the end, and I think it'll be like anything else. I think some people will benefit from it. Personally, I think clinics like ours will benefit from franchises. We've already had some people, they said, I did the online thing. I don't like it. I want the personal interaction. You're talking about your health. You're talking about your body. You're talking about your hormones. It's not something that you just want to, get on a Zoom call or get on a telephone. Sorry.
It's like a sci-fi movie.
Automatic timers, you gotta love them. You can cut that. Okay, so it's a very personal decision. It's your life, it's your body, it's your health, it's your hormones. You want that personal interaction. You want someone to talk to you and say, this is what I'm feeling. How do you see this? This is something that happened with this. You don't get that personal interaction with a franchise or an online kind of service. Online is kind of limited in what they can provide, right? They're going to send you something. So their options are much more limited. Mm-hmm. The franchises coming in, it's very cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A is a very successful company, right? And they provide a very good product. Is that something that you want to do? You maybe want something a little bit different. You want something on your own. So I think it will benefit some people for sure. I think individual clinics could actually benefit from it if they are positioning themselves as such. If they've got the Google reviews, if they say, look, we've got a personal assistant, we talk to you, we hear you, we understand you, right? We don't have a script this franchise provided for us to say. We don't have a set protocol for everybody because this is what the franchise says. We can tailor things to you, to your physiology, to your biology, because that's our focus. That's the differentiator with what we provide and what a cookie cutter clinic can provide.
Yeah, when I started doing business plan workshops with clinics, 5 years ago. And I always ask, what is your unique value proposition? And most doctors look at me like I have three heads. Like they don't
Right.
even know what that is, let alone how to define it for themselves. But I agree with you. I think franchises coming in gives the individual clinic the opportunity to really create and clarify a UVP, promote that, and that is how they'll find their perfect audience.
Right.
Yeah.
And be honest. I mean, there's people that come into our clinic that aren't a good fit.
Yeah,
And that's fine.
of course.
We're not going to be everything to everybody. We have a specific niche that we want to hit. And it's people that are very focused on their bodies, that have put health over dollars and are willing to make that investment. Others want the quick, give me the pill, give me the shot, give me the whatever, and
Yeah. On my
make it
way.
easy as convenient, and they're fine with that.
All right. Well, it has been so much fun talking to you. Before we go, I've stolen this from Steve Bartlett, who is the podcast Diary of a CEO. He does this thing where at the end of the podcast, he asks the guest a question that came from the last guest, but you don't know who that guest was and they don't know who you are. So, you ready for your question?
Sure.
Okay. Question is, what is it that lights you up the most about what you do now as a hormone clinic owner?
I'm going to answer that by giving you a client story.
Okay, perfect.
I knew a guy back in my print days. And when we transitioned to the new business, talked to him about what I was experiencing, the changes that hormones made on me. And he was all in. Came to the clinic, was on the therapy for a few months, saw him at an event, and he was there with his wife, who I'd met maybe a couple of times. She came up to me and gave me the biggest hug and just looked at me and said, "Thank you for giving me my husband back." That was years ago, but that still sticks with me. And that's what we do this for. That's what lights me up. We give people their life back, things that they thought were lost forever. The intimacy, that saving marriages is huge. All of the things that people thought, this is gone because I have reached this age, I've reached this weight, I've reached this whatever. We can restore those and give them new hope and a bright future, right? And that's what I am passionate about doing.
That's beautiful. And that is hopefully why most people do it, for
Right.
that joy, for that. And so many stories start the way that yours started with, it happened to me.
Right.
I took hormones, it changed my life, and I want everyone to have that.
Right. I think everybody should have that opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for taking care of your community. Thank you for being on today and helping any aspiring hormone clinic owners or wellness clinic owners. Keith Reeves from Optimized Wellness, thank you so very much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Well, thanks. It was great to be on. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening to Beyond Hormones, the business of wellness. I hope that you're walking away with fresh ideas and real strategies you can use to grow your practice with profit and purpose. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow the show so you never miss a conversation. And if something you heard today resonated with you, do me a favor, share this episode with a friend or a colleague. It's one of the best ways you can support the show, and it might be exactly what they need to hear right now. If you want even more tools and support, go ahead and head over to acceleratedmedicalpractices.com. Until next time, keep doing the work that matters. Your patients need you, and I am cheering you along every step of the way.